want to welcome to Calabash TV, Kaydene Mangal, who's just released a music video and a book.
This year I'm moving forward. Can't afford to stay behind. For so long I'm in this battle, and I cannot see the light, no. Left foot going over the other. We get in there, no stop, stall off flat tire. We ready. All the shame and disgrace that we put away, no hiding under cover, we showing face. Nobody can stop this. Ain't stopping this fire. Rebuilding this fortress and taking things higher. This is my time, time to arise. This is the year of the progress.
All right, we heard of you not too long ago in terms of the release of your book and also the release of the very first video. It's not very normal that an artist will release for the first time a music video and a book. Talk to us first of all about your introduction to music.
Okay, well, I started singing at church at the age of 3, and I really developed a love for music, and I started playing. My dad taught me how to play the guitar at the age of 15, and I just started soaring from then. Started writing my own music, and I had such a passion for it. I really wanted to pursue it.
Why the guitar? Is that the only instrument he played, or?
Well, yes, that's the only instrument he played, and I fell in love with it because from the time I was growing up, he always played to me every night. We would sing, and I just had an attachment to that instrument, and now I play many more instruments, but that was my first instrument.
Was he part of a band?
Well, he was part of the church band.
Okay.
He played at church.
And where was that church?
In Goodlands. Yes.
Oh, it's not very far from here.
No.
Okay, so you pick up the guitar.
Yes.
At what point did you pick up writing, though?
I used to write poems when I was at secondary school. I used to write a lot of poems, love poems. I used to read a lot. I was a bookworm from the time I could remember. But I started writing and writing. I don't know. Yeah. I read and I wrote.
At the time when you were writing, were you writing songs or just writing poetry, or what exactly were you
It was
writing?
just poetry. I started with poetry, and then I once turned a poem into a song. I added melody to that poem, and I enjoyed doing it. But then after I started playing the guitar, my ear for music opened up, and I could hear melodies while I used to practice playing the guitar. And then I would play and sing. Yeah.
What are specific subjects, topics that you were leaning towards writing in both your music and your poetry?
My poetry was more about relationships, love, falling in love, because at that time, petty love. I thought I liked guys. But when I started writing, it was more about God and Christianity and love also. But it was basically more leaning towards God. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that was influenced by your being in the church and so on.
Yes, it was.
All right, cool. Now, once you learned to play the guitar and you started writing, at what point did you think, listen, I can probably start to record stuff, I can start releasing music and start doing music videos? At what point, what influenced that decision?
I had a few friends that were producers, music producers, and I would send them small demos of what I used to record at home. And they were like, you know what, come into the studio, come in. And a lot of people producers would see me perform at certain events, and they would tell me, come to the studio. And I started recording and recording my original material at the studios. Yeah.
You said they would see you performing. Where were you performing?
I was performing at different concerts throughout the country, gospel concerts throughout, shows, big shows, small shows, church events.
You're performing as a solo artist or as part of a choir?
Both. At first I started solo, just me and my guitar, and then after that, with people seeing me, I ended up being in bands and traveled to Dominica with the band that I was in. Yeah.
So at what point did a writing bug, in terms of writing for a book, did the writing bug bite you?
Oh, well, I recently wrote this book. Yeah, like about 6 months ago. I wrote this book. I started writing 6 months ago. I wrote the book in like 2 months.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was a burden to write for me. It was like the burden was on my shoulders to write it. And as soon as I started, it was like, it just flowed.
Was it something you'd been planning to do for a while?
No, I never planned on writing a book ever. It was not my intention at all. I wanted to stick to writing songs. Yeah.
So what inspired the book?
after going through my struggle, what I went through, it was an eye-opener for me, seeing that another woman or young lady can benefit from my story and hearing my version of what I went through or what I had to go through. And I just chose to write it. I felt like my story needed to be out there because it happens a lot of the time. Yeah, it does.
Now, I know we don't want spoilers because we want people to buy the book. But can you give us an idea of some of the things that, without giving us too much detail, because we want people to get the book. And the book is called, first of all, it's called A Prophet's Lie.
Yes.
A Journey to Freedom. And it's the story of your life.
Yes.
Explain to us the name of the book, first of all, A Prophet's Lie.
Okay, well, let me just give you a small summary. So, when I was at the height of my music career, I needed a manager. And I found one that was going to my church. He was the choir director, he was the head worship leader. He was in great position at the church. And he told me he was willing to manage me musically. And then he was also a prophet. And he started giving me prophecies all the time to do stuff or to believe in certain stuff. And I would go ahead with it because I felt it was right. But then the prophecies started turning into some it was very uncomfortable. It started becoming uncomfortable because it was stuff that I did not believe in. And it just got to a point where when I realized how deep and how far it had gone, it was almost too late. I was already in a trap that I couldn't get out of. I couldn't. And so I ended up falling into it as deep as you can go. And he left me there at the lowest point. He left me and he went away. Yeah. And then I chose to, after many years, I struggled for 6 years to get out of that struggle, that deep hole. It took me 6 years, and this is the 7th year.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you said, I know again we don't want to give too much detail because we want people to find that detail in the book. When you said he went away, he went out of your life, or he went out of the country?
Out of my life.
Out of your life.
Yes.
But he was still in the church.
Yeah. No, he left. He ran away from.
He ran away.
Yeah.
All right. So again, we can get the details in the book. It's called A Prophet's Lie:
Yes.
Journey to Freedom, and it's available on Amazon.
Yes.
So you can get it online. And are there any local outlets as well?
Yeah. Well, I have the hard copies. You message me on social media, and we can meet up, and I could give you a copy of the book. I'm on Facebook at Kaydene Mangal or Instagram at Kaydene Mangal.
Okay. So over those 6 years.
Yeah.
Where did you find your therapy, and how did music play a part in that?
Yes. When it just happened and I really realized the extent of the depth of what had happened, I started writing. I wrote all my feelings out into songs. I wrote and I wrote. I wrote up to about 100 songs in the period of maybe a few months. I didn't want to eat. I was not going outside. It was just a depression. I battled suicidal thoughts for all these years. It was such a battle for me. But the form of therapy, I would say, were the songs. And I used to listen to a lot of motivational speeches of how to get back up after you've fallen.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me.
Yeah, I think that helped me.
By the time were you talking to other people, or other sources of comfort?
No.
Just you?
Yeah. I was not speaking to anybody. Writing this book is the only version of my story. I never spoke to anybody about it. Because when I first tried to reach out to my heads, they did not accept or believe my story. So I just went into my shell and chose to not say anything about it.
Now, you said this was going on and you were getting deeper and deeper. What caused the halt and the break to start the reversal? Again, you may want to give us details.
I do, yes, because
something must have caused it. It must have happened at some point in time.
there was a big bang.
There was a big bang.
That's all I could say. There was a big big bang, and then everybody realized what was going on. And then at that point, they tried to stop it. It was already almost, it was too late in a sense, but it can never be too late in another sense.
Now, you put it out in the book form, so that means it's there, it's permanently documented, it's
Yes.
online and so on. Talk to us about the decision for you to decide that I really want this out there and as a record of permanence, because it's once it's online, it's going to be there for quite a while. So I'm sure, I'm trying to get a sense of how you made that decision, as you could have gone to a few people and talk about it, you could have taken other courses of action, but you said, I want to document this for the world.
Yes.
What influenced that decision?
It was just, I felt like it was time to share what I went through, because a lot of young ladies are victims of manipulation, a lot of them. And a lot of us, we go through deception whether we know it or not. Maybe sometimes it's too late when we realize that we have gone through that deception. I believed that my story would help somebody. It would start something, so that women would open their eyes and realize, hey, we don't deserve that. We're better than this. And even after we've fallen completely, we can still rise from the ashes.
So it's not just for women who are in the music business.
No.
It's aimed at young girls who probably have that experience throughout life, whether it's school or work or just out in the open world.
Yes.
So the age, what ages do you want to read this?
From 10, age 10, I guess, because there are a few nitty-gritties in there a few sexual content stuff that maybe the younger children may not be able to
So you're saying
handle.
it's very detailed?
It is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
For so long I'm in this battle, and I cannot see the light, no. Left foot going over the other, we get in there, no stop, stall off the tire, we ready. All the shame and disgrace that we put away, no hiding under cover, we showing face. Nobody can stop this, ain't stopping this fire, rebuilding this fortress, and taking things higher. This is my time to arise, this is the year of the progress, this is my time, and I'm gonna shine, this is the year of the progress.
Now, I know that the question of trust comes into play, because this is somebody who was in a position of influence,
Yes.
who, I guess, being a prophet that you trusted.
Yeah.
What does this do in terms of how you approach people and trust now?
Yeah, good question. I had to start from scratch, basically. I stopped believing everybody. I really did. I stopped trusting people. I stopped speaking to people because I felt like everybody was the same, or everybody was out to get me in some form or the other. And it's still a struggle that I go through, believing people and having to put my full trust in someone, but I'll get there someday. Yeah, it was broken completely, but I'm building slowly but surely.
I was about to ask you, so there are people now that you can trust, you can have a conversation with?
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the music video that you have, which is The Year of Progress,
Yeah.
explain to us the title. It's a curious title, considering we just had The Prophets Alive, and the two of them are related.
Yes. Okay. So, the Prophet's journey to freedom is what I really wanted to focus on. My journey of getting back to where I was, or even further. The song, the way it ties to the song is that the song basically says, "This year I'm moving forward. I cannot afford to stay behind." It's basically a rise from the fall, a rise from the ashes. And I declared that this is the year of the progress. So this year, we're not going back. We're not looking back. There's no reason to. We allow our pain to be the beginning of our process to get to where we want.
Let's go! Oh, you better have a vision. Look as far as you can see. This year is double for your trouble. Bring your haters to their knees, yeah. Right foot going over the other, and we don't care that past dirty laundry. Nobody can stop this. Ain't stopping this fire. Rebuilding this fortress. And taking things. This is my time. Time to arise. This is the year of the progress. This is my time. And I'm gonna shine. This is the year of the progress. Oh, let me go, oh, let me go. Oh, let me go, oh, let me go. Oh, let me go, oh, let me go. Oh, let me go, oh, let me go.
Okay, so I'm curious to find out about the experience of writing the song, recording it, because there's always you can write it and then when you start recording it, you know the experiences continue and they grow and you confirm a lot of the thoughts that you have in the song, and then the music video. So that means you get constant reminders of. So explain to us first of all the concept behind the music video itself.
Okay.
How did you consider the images? Who decided what images you're going to put in there to convey your story?
Okay, well, it was basically me. I had envisioned everything already. I'm a perfectionist, so when I go out with a project, I go all the way out. I wanted to show that, because at the beginning of the video, it shows where I'm reading the book and crying over my story, just going through it and reminiscing what I had to live through, and then it shows right after it shows me shining, going to my book signing. I had a book signing in the video, sorry, and it shows me having a concert, my own concert. That's what I wanted to depict because that's what I'm looking to do. That's my way forward. You know what I mean? Rising with my book and my song, singing at concerts, that's the vision. That has always been the vision. And I'm doing it.
Listen, we're moving from a place of complacency. Yeah, we're moving from a place of complacency. Da 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 da. We're moving from a place of complacency.
So now that you have those two tangibles, the book and the music video, you've had those two experiences, writing a book, writing a song, and publishing it. Talk to us about your thinking now. Is this something that you want to continue doing for a while? And will it be a continuation of the journey to freedom, or have you reached that freedom?
No, I don't think I will ever feel content with my growth. I think it's an ongoing process, and it will. When I jump over that hurdle, there'll be another one to jump over. It doesn't stop, and I really do believe that my freedom will be forever. Yeah.
Now, I don't want to use the word satisfying in terms of putting the book together and putting the music video together as an artist, but personally for you, I know you said it was liberating and so on.
Yes.
Which of those experiences was most liberating? Is it the book or the music video?
I would say the book, because right after I wrote the book, I felt this sense of freedom. I did. I felt a weight was lifted off of me because I could finally share my story. I had stopped hiding. I felt free after writing that book. Writing the song really touched me. When the song was created a day after the rhythm was created. I was in the studio one day and the producer said, "Kaydene, strum something on the guitar." And I did, and he created a beat right away with that. And
also, you're the one playing the guitar on the
yes,
on the
I
music.
am. Yes.
Okay.
And then I went home with the beat, and I wrote a song the very next day. And I came back to the studio that night, and I recorded it. And the day after, he sent me home with the demo. I sat in the car and I just cried listening to it because I felt every lyric. It was literally what I believed and my current drive. And I cried. I think I cried a few times listening to that song because it meant so much to me.
This is my time, time to arise. This is the year of the progress. This is my time, and I'm gonna shine. This is the year of the progress. This is my time, time to arise. This is the year of the progress. This is my time, and I'm gonna shine. This is the year of the progress.
All right, well, Kaydene, we're really happy that you've agreed to share your experiences
Yes.
with us, both with the music video and the book. So, like you said, we can expect to see probably another book and more music from you?
Yes, for sure.
They're gonna talk, they're gonna talk, they're gonna talk.
This is Rubber Production.
Yeah. They will talk, but get your mind off of what they say. You are more than enough. They'll envy what you become someday. Oh.
I'm putting together an album as we speak, but there's no specific time frame as yet. I will let my fans know the when it's ready, when everything's ready, and the process to get to the finish line for this album.
They're gonna say the worst about you. Oh, most of it untrue. Just let them talk their rumors freely, 'cause they're in for quite a show. Smile when you see them, smile when you see them. Don't hold hatred in your heart. I'm telling you.
Talk to us a little bit about the feedback that you've been getting from the book.
So far, a lot of people, they have been shocked, especially a lot of my friends, because they've never heard my story. They never heard my side of the story. They've been very encouraged by it. It has supported and comforted a lot of people that have gone through maybe even worse situations than I did. It is making headway, and I'm happy with the feedback. I am.
And finally, are there, I don't know if you're aware of any changes, both in church, where this problem started first of all, that the church has heeded, the messages that you have there, and that things are changing. So other girls who are probably likely to have the same experience will probably now have a safer future.
Yes. From the time it happened with me, the church has been more guarded towards that specific situation. And I think a lot of people's eyes are now opened. So it'll be like a domino effect.
Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me.
Okay, so the instructions from here is to go get a copy of the book.
Yes.
A Prophet's Lie is available on Amazon, and also you can make contact with you through your social media pages.
Yes.
To be able to get copies of the book. And the key advice from you to young ladies is
to stay strong, be mindful of what is going on around you, and do not faint. Even if you fall, you could arise from the ashes. It's not the end for you.
All right, Kaydene Mangal is author of A Prophet's Lie, A Journey to Freedom, the story of her life, and also the music video, Year of Progress.
Yes.
We appreciate you giving us the time and would like to wish you all the best and
Thank you so
keep us
much.
informed of what's happening.
Thank you so much.
Don't you waste your time. Just get you stronger. Focus a little harder. You'll be going higher and higher and higher. All you need is patience. Faith that it'll happen. And enjoy the ride to the other side. Blessings from above. Promised unto us. They can't stop that shine. No matter what. People talk, but get your mind off of what they say. You are more than enough. They'll envy what you become someday. So hold your head up high. Let none see you cry. Look unto the hills. It is where your strength lies. They have a problem with everything that you do. Their satisfaction seems impossible. Wanna put you down, though they don't know what you've been through.